Fuck it, I knew this would happen, but anyway, yes. Oh, but there's so many Spanish dialects. You're so wrong. It's not just one Spanish. Well, no, it is just one Spanish. You're just thinking of regional differences, and it's really more about accent and little else. But hey, let's go do this thing, okay? Guys, as always, welcome to the channel. Trying to help you out with some of these questions that people have. So, how is it that you have so many different types of Spanish? Well, you don't. It's only Spanish. Yes, there's differences between one country and the other, as always. There's even words that are common in one country, but it does. If I say, how are you doing, mate or bro, it's not changing the language. You're still speaking English. One is more typical British, one is more typical American, but it's still the same language. If you speak fluent English, then you will understand perfectly fine someone that speaks with more of a British accent or a Canadian accent or whatever it is. It's really more about the accent than the difference in terms of what would be a complete different dialect. A dialect really means that there's some big differences in terms of how you construct sentences, grammar, and so on. It's not the same language. If you have a dialect that is completely separate from one another, there's going to be serious rules. It's not just going to be about things that are interchangeable or are very close or that is very much in disuse. For example, I'm from Argentina, right? We use the voceo a lot. Yeah, instead of saying tú, like tú would be you, right? You, tú is you in Spanish, right? And we say vos. Vos, that comes from the vosotros. But still, these are all well within what's understood as fucking Spanish. And this is something that's recognized by the Real Academia Española. It is still Spanish. Yes, Spanish is pretty old. It's been around for a long time. There will be little differences between one country and the other. There's even differences between one region of a big country and the other. The case in Argentina, certainly so. Someone from Córdoba has a different accent from someone in Buenos Aires, right? But it's usually going to be mostly about that. Yes, some slang words, some ways in which you construct things very much different, yes, but not when it comes down to the root language itself, which is, again, one more time, just one, Spanish. Oh, but you don't get it. If I'm gonna learn, what should I learn? Like Mexican Spanish? Should I learn Spanish from Spain Spanish or Argentine Spanish? Well, that goes into what kind of accent you think is more appealing to you. Sometimes it's about what people like this guy that I was showing you about before, the dude Dustin Luke. He obviously likes the Argentine accent and uses that a lot, and does so very well. He speaks very fluently English.
No soy argentino, pero fue muy gracioso escucharlas.
So he adopts that very well. He's still speaking Spanish. Whereas that strong Argentine accent and using a lot of Argentine slang, that does not change. But my point is, if you know Spanish correctly, which a lot of people simply don't, and that's maybe the biggest point, that people think that simply because they just speak it poorly or don't know how to speak it correctly, oh, it's just because mine is different than yours. No, you just don't know what you're saying. You don't know the language. If you have a Mexican guy, and yes, I'm talking here specifically about people that know the language properly, maybe brought up in Mexico, learned his own language, he speaks Spanish just fine, but even within Mexico, someone that has a proper education, someone that is somewhat literate and knows how to speak correctly. Not, dude, I can barely, this is something like Paddy Pimblett, UFC fighter, right? He's English. He speaks English, right? Gareth Bale. Can you understand a damn thing the guy is saying? Well, so as long as you speak it correctly, right? If you are speaking English correctly, you will understand one another. Now, if someone is from a more challenging economically, social, cultural background, and they kind of fucking screw up everything they say, even within their own language, yeah, that's going to be very difficult to understand, no matter what kind of accent you are more used to. But as long as you articulate your words correctly. Everyone from the Spanish-speaking world will understand everything you're saying, and the same goes the other way around. Now, if you start with this half-assed kind of Mexican-American gringo bullshit that is not even Spanish in any shape or form, that is not Spanish, so not a dialect or a type of Spanish, okay? Spanish is just Spanish. Learn whatever accent you find more appealing or is maybe more useful for you, giving proximity and the kind of Spanish-speaking people that you're likely to come across. But yeah, that's going to be it. See you next time. Take care.